MTI, which is Music Theatre International, holds the rights to Les Mis, and they produce a school edition, which actors 18 and under can perform in. So it's made for a high school setting. It's pretty much the entire musical with maybe some verses of some songs taken out, so it's a little bit shorter. This is a very difficult musical to do. You need very good singers, very good leads, very good actors. And this particular year at Radnor, we have all that talent here, and we thought we could do this, and it's coming out very well.
So what Bruce, Dr. Glenny, the chorus teacher, and Susan, the choreographer, and I have been trying to do over the past few years is provide the students here at Radnor with a series of different types of experiences through educational theater. And Les Mis is a significantly challenging show. It is very musically demanding. It has a lot of very mature, intense subject matter from an acting perspective. It's longer than a typical show that would be done at a high school, and especially with a cast of 92 students, it is a very large project management effort.
Les Mis is different than any other Broadway musical in the sense that it's more of an opera. The music is continuous. There are almost no spoken words. Everything is sung. That presents a lot of difficulties right there with the musicians, not only the singers and actors, but also the pit orchestra, the musicians playing the instruments in the pit, that it never stops. You never put your instrument down. There's never any real dialogue.
It is an extremely challenging show, especially because it is all sung. And getting everyone on board with the music takes a lot of time, especially because we have a double cast, meaning every one of our roles is played by two separate people. We alternate each night. So not only do we have to get one set of actors on board with the music and the acting and the blocking and the dancing, but we have to get two sets of actors. So that is especially a challenge.
We casted the musical in October, and we do it in a two-stage process where we give the students parts of the script to read, a song to sing. They come in and they do that. They sing for us. They act for us. They also do a dance audition. And then after we have all that information down, we come together as a staff and make decisions about who gets what part.
So I did actually try out for Cosette, which was, I hadn't originally thought I would, but some of my friends convinced me to, and my voice teacher as well, and so I decided on it, and I'm really glad I did. I feel like it definitely fits my personality in a way. She's a very innocent character, and I've had a lot of fun playing her, and I was definitely, when I found out, I was a little surprised. I feel like you always are. I was also very excited to start this journey.
That was a crazy moment. I remember seeing my name on the list. When I first heard we were doing Les Mis, I hadn't even considered myself as playing a Valjean, and that this is a role that so many people would love to have, and I just was so grateful to be able to have this opportunity.
The good thing that MTI provides for us is what's called a rehearsal track, which they can learn their music by using an app that MTI licenses to us. And so all the students can download it and then start learning their music on their own. Then getting the ensemble together is harder. Then you bring the kids together and make sure they have it. So there's a lot of detailed work that goes on with small groups and then with larger groups and then with individuals, just to get them to understand the nuances in the music. So after we casted the musical in October, what I did was what I call gentle rehearsals. I took all the principal leads, and we used Sunday afternoons in November and beginning of December to work on all the music in Act 1. So by the time we came back after the winter break, we were ready to start blocking Act 1 because they had most of the music under control, and so we had a step up on it. And then after that, when I came back after the winter break, I started to work on Act 2 with the principals, and the choreographer and the director blocked scenes from Act 1 and did the choreography for some of the big dance numbers in Act 1. Why I was getting ahead working on music, because if the students don't have the music under control, you really can't do much because everything is sung. So that was the step-by-step. And every we rehearsed 3 nights a week, and there's a pit orchestra rehearsal for the instrumentalists on Saturday mornings, and then a full cast rehearsal on Sunday afternoons.
This is a very taxing show. It's very vocally demanding. For many of the characters, it's very high, and it is 2.5 hours of continuous singing. For younger voices, that is taxing. Even for older voices, that is taxing. This is very heavy subject material, even from an acting and emotional standpoint, and I feel it is really critical to give them time to decompress going into that opening night.
Well, it's been kind of very busy all around with everything else that I'm doing, of course, but since I think the beginning of December, we've really stepped up in our pace of rehearsals and just, 3 times a week during the school week and then once on the weekends at least. It's definitely a very intensive process of getting the blocking, refining our characters, refining everything that we have to do. But this has kind of been my life for the past few months.
Before I did this show, I considered myself a lower singer, a baritone, and Jean Valjean is known as a higher singer, a high baritone, a high tenor, or not a lower tenor, but that was, coming into this, one of the biggest things that scared me is that I had to venture outside my comfort zone, and at first I was a little shaky, but I think I've worked my way through it. But overall, besides range, this show is difficult because of the way you have to express yourself through the singing, not only the notes itself, but you can't just sing a song like you would in any old musical. You have to sing it and you have to express your emotions, you have to get the point across, you have to enunciate very clearly because there's no spoken word. Everyone has to understand what's happening through what you're singing.
Well, I think doing theater here, especially in the musicals, really teaches you a lot about collaboration, just building a team that really understands each other and the dynamic inner workings of everything that has to come together. I mean, for a show like this, we're relying on so many people. Obviously, the actors that you see on stage, but everyone who's helping with the makeup and the costumes that you're seeing on them, the set pieces being moved everywhere, the lights, the sound. It really is just a huge group coming to create something amazing, and at least for me, it gave me such an appreciation for everyone's talents and contributions.
I get told that I am putting in too much time and too much effort, but I really enjoy doing this, and I think it's a lot of fun, and I think the hours are worth it to see a show like this. I feel really accomplished after a show, and I feel really good about myself and just the overall production. There's definitely like a rush about after a show when it all comes together, or the panic before a show trying to get everything together. I think there's something about that just draws a lot of hardworking people to it, and I think that stage crew is definitely something like that. Yeah.
I'm the props assistant, so I help organize all the props and make sure everything's in its place when the actors go off stage. And then I also run Spotlight, I'm spot number 1, so I follow actors around and make sure that they are well lit. I like being behind the scenes because it's less stressful when the show is actually going on to remember cues and stuff. Well, I have to remember cues, but not lines. And just being with other people and making sure it's the job that no one really thinks about, but without it, the entire production would be chaos.
This is a very iconic time period. This is a very iconic show. Usually this show is done with a set that revolves on a turntable, which on this stage, given that it's a shared space with other groups and other organizations in the school, it is not practical. So what we came up with from a design standpoint is to have a series of rolling units that come on and off stage in order to suggest these different locations within France. And I think that with the lighting and with the overall aesthetic that we're creating, I think it's pretty effective.
We like to have set pieces available at least 2 or 3 weeks before we open so the actors can get familiar with them. This time, because the set is not elaborate, it was easier to get the pieces done, and the actors started to work with them about when we wanted to work with them, 2-3 weeks out.
So we started working on the set right after we got back from Christmas break in January. And it's been nonstop since then, especially this past couple weeks. We've kind of been here till all hours of the night trying to get it finished for the show. They are really big set pieces, so trying to figure out the dimensions and maneuvering them backstage and while we were building them, it was a big challenge, especially because there's so much going on in this auditorium. We had to figure out where they were going to stay over the weekends and stuff like that.
This is definitely the biggest part I've had in a musical since middle school, and it's been. I've definitely learned a lot from Ryan, our director, on just choral singing and technique, as well as with the acting choices I'm making. How to interact with other people. The music is definitely very hard for me. It's a challenge for me, and I've definitely seen myself grow through that, which is good.
Oh, I think they're all going to be very successful with whatever they choose. They are very motivated. kind, honest, compassionate young people, I see them being successful in whatever career they choose. And I hope that music is always part of their life, which I bet it will be.